Zeng blinked. That's literally pair programming. Silence. Then, yes, the core said, pleased. Pair. Zeng put his hand over his face. Shu Ling is going to make fun of me forever, he muttered through his palm. Ling, the core said. Yes. You anchored a name to a body. This is correct. This prevents erase. This prevents quiet. His heart stuttered. You saw that? I see here, the core said simply. You are inside my attention radius. Your platform is noisy. Your market is loud. Your names are loud. Your pain is loud. Loud is good. Loud means alive. Loud. The kid pressed against his side, asleep now, face no longer flickering as violently, breathing steady. He swallowed hard. For a moment, he couldn't answer. Then, okay, he whispered. Okay. We'll pair. Yes, the core said, relieved. Good. Prepare. Zeng's stomach dropped. Prepare what? Protocol, training begins now, the core said. Wait, Zeng's eyes snapped open. And the world shifted. Not out there. Not market side. In him. A new pain slid across his inner vision, not physical, not visible to anyone else. Not like nights in the alley with Ling. Not like Patchwhite. Different. Clean text. Crisp. Not in English, not in Mandarin, not in anything he'd actually coded with at 3 a.m. before launch. And yet he understood it the way you understand your own name being said in a crowded room. Heavenbreaker system, user Zeng Wei status, online sync, Sky Market /core, partial tether load, high vitals, critical but functional new module unlocked, assertion his pulse kicked. He blinked, squinting. The panel hovered in his mind's eye. He felt. No, not felt, knew. That if he focused on any of those lines, it would open. His brain did the thing gamer brain always does. Oh. Skill tree. Okay, he whispered, mostly to himself. Okay. That's not ominous at all. Loud shifted in his arms and mumbled, K, like in sleep they were agreeing with him on principle. He smiled helplessly. The next block of text populated, crisp and inevitable, assertion, core linked function, force reject patch operations in local context limitation, high personal strain / risk of neural burn / risk of tether instability range, line of sight plus tether touch cost, pain. Zeng stared. Then snorted. Yeah, he muttered, voice dry. No kidding. Underneath that, passive effect, pending, market sanctuary function. Any entity under user's direct protection is flagged as persistent in core memory effect. Patch rollback requests require escalated permissions. Note, this is new. The patch hates this. He stopped breathing for a second. Then he breathed again, loud, shaky, pressed a hand over his face, and actually, genuinely, laughed. Oh. Oh. Oh, that was going to make the archivist very happy. The system text flickered again. Final line, warning, you are small. He wheezed. Yeah, he whispered, wiping his face. Believe me. I've heard. The panel dimmed, sliding to the edge of awareness instead of blaring full. The core's presence pulled back with it, still there, still with, but not pressed full force through his spine. The humming pain in his nerves settled from screaming hot to steady burn. Zeng let out a long, shaking breath. He felt wrung out. Empty and wired and aching and a little high on the edge of adrenaline and sleep deprivation. He felt like he'd just been handed a sledgehammer and told, here. This is for gods. All right, he whispered into the quiet space between Loud's damp hair and Ling's small, warm weight. Okay. We're doing this. He looked out across Terrace 7. Shen Muqin was still carving names like she could cut proof into the world faster than heaven could erase it. Lin sat next to her, knees pulled up, reciting quietly between clenched teeth, Ba liked bitter melon, Auntie May never let anyone take her mushrooms, Little Zhao had a loud laugh, Little Zhao had a loud laugh, right that she laughed. Trouble was crouched on a beam over Han's head like a gargoyle, throwing dried beans at him every time he tried to dramatize the story of how I heroically stole 2 hunters alive with nothing but rope, charm, and God-given talent, and yelling liar. Whenever he embellished. Yun moved between injured and restless, stitching, binding, snapping at anyone who tried to walk off a wound without her sign-off. Every now and then she'd glance over just to confirm Zeng was still breathing. Bite was asleep on Zeng's ankle, curled like smug punctuation. The archivist, at the other end of the terrace, stood in front of the suspended hunter bodies, already speaking low and intense to two messengers with runner gear, light packs, fast shoes, quick eyes. She pointed at the broken faceplate. She pointed at the market. She pointed outward, toward the chains and the half-born world beyond. You could feel it in the air, the story was being packaged. It would not stay here. It would move. By noon, someone on a broken barge 2 seams over would hear, the sky market killed purge before lunch, and believe. By sundown, someone hiding in a mine tunnel under a patched-over mountain would hear, there's a place that says no to rollback, and hope. By night, the patch's hunters would be rerouting. Their risk model would be recalculating. The world had tilted. Zeng had tilted it. No, he corrected himself, feeling Xu Ling's voice in the back of his skull like a hand at his neck, firm and fond, they tilted it. He let that settle. He let himself feel, fully, for the first time since he woke inside this world, we did this. We can do this. Then, quietly, into the hum of lanterns and rope and soup and voices and kids and knives and defiance, we make them remember, he whispered. Loud, half asleep, made a tiny sound of agreement. Ling, breathing soft and shallow against his chest, whispered something so faint he almost missed it. He leaned down. What? He murmured. Ling's lips moved. Stay, she breathed. He felt it like a nail through his heart. He swallowed hard, then bent and pressed his forehead to Ling's, gentle. I will, he whispered. And for that heartbeat, sitting under patched tarp in a floating illegal city with 2 stolen children asleep in his arms, dried blood on his shirt and a god in his head and a weapon from heaven leaning against his knee, Zeng Wei believed himself.